Hello, guys. I think my live got disconnected. Let me try again. There, I'm back. I don't know what happened, but my live just went out. So, thank you all for joining me this Saturday afternoon. Happy New Year. If you don't remember who I am, let me introduce myself, or you don't know who I am Tiffany R. Love. I am an educator. I teach kindergarten. I am an author. Um, I create fiction, nonfiction, journals, all that good stuff. I love to write. I've had many people come to me wanting to write, wanting to get started, wanting to be motivated to write. And I actually needed that myself. I was in a season where I was kind of getting a little slacking on writing. So I made a commitment that I was going to start coming to Facebook and writing, use this little time to write and have others join me to kind of motivate you and get you back into the mood of writing as well as myself. I wanted to share at the end of the year in December, I had the opportunity to speak at a women's retreat. The segment that I spoke on was about journaling, writing, and I really had no idea that would be a segment at a retreat, but it is because there's so many people that are wanting to write, but for some reason, something is keeping them back. Hey, Jazz. Um, I had a few things that stuck with me at the journal. I had a few women that said that they asked me basically what would I do with my journals. One woman mentioned that she was going to burn her journals because she was afraid somebody would read her personal, you know, things that she wrote. Another woman mentioned that she was paralyzed because I guess somebody violated her privacy. It was something that she wrote and they shared it with someone. So that kind of paralyzed her from ever wanting to write or journal anything. So I realized there's so many women stop writing, not because they don't have a voice, but because someone mishandled their voice. And that would kind of paralyze you. Someone, share something sacred that you never authorized them to share. So I want to kind of free somebody this afternoon. I have some key points that I wanted to share about journaling, specifically journaling. Like, for instance, journaling is not always about a diary. Most people, when they hear journaling, they think it's about a diary, like my day was this, or writing about somebody else, or whatever it is. But journaling is not just a diary, and not everything you write is meant to share. So, some things that you write, that doesn't mean you have to go share those things with somebody else. Not everything is meant to keep. Sometimes you need to free your mind. You might have a lot of things going on your mind. So you can get out a paper, notebook, and just dump everything out, whatever is going on in your mind. And after you're done, you can rip it up, burn it. You release that thing. So the last thing I have is not everything you write is about people. So everything that you write, it doesn't have to be about a person. It could be about yourself or some other things. Some of the things I wrote out, if you see me looking down, that's because I'm reading my notes that I had prepared. So, some of the things that I normally journal, prayers, I journal prayers. I have a journal, I have prayers for different areas of my life, and some of them are for people, that specific prayers that I have for people. For instance, my children, I have prayers for each one of them because they're all different people. So I have scriptures written, like scriptures that resonate with things that I may have going on in my life. I write out those scriptures. I find scriptures to resonate with whatever that area is in my life, and I write those scriptures out. You can write out gratitude, lessons God is teaching you, something God is teaching you. You know, you're the student. So, what do students do? Students bring a pencil or a pen, a notebook, whatever it is, and they write it out. So, yeah, you need to write out what lesson is God teaching me in this season. Write it out so you can figure out this thing so you don't have to keep relearning it. You can write out questions to God. You know, you can write out, God, what, why am I still stuck in this same season? Write that out in your journal. You know, spend that quiet time with God so He can reveal it to you. Why are you in this season? What is it that He's trying to teach you? You can write out declarations, letters that you'll never send. It could be letters to your younger self, letters to somebody who may have hurt you, but you want to forgive them and you don't have to directly go to them. You can write that out. You can release them into the freedom of your forgiveness. Rip it up, burn it. You done that. You can write out sermon notes in your journal, and you can write out what God is healing, not the details of the wound, but what He is healing. So sometimes journaling isn't about reliving pain, it's about recording God's faithfulness. Sometimes you write out something that you went through and how God delivered you from that thing. So it's not, the focus is not to relive that pain. The focus is to record God's faithfulness. Those are things that other people need to hear and see. And by you writing that out, you know, that can free them, because some of the pain, some of the things that we go through is not for us, it's for somebody else. You may write a devotional, a book. It could be, if you have a website, you could write a post on your website. If you have an email list, you could write out email list. Whatever it is, those are things you write it out, because the Bible does, in Habakkuk 2 and 2, it says, write the vision, make it plain. I have some other, I don't have them with me, but I have some other scriptures that I had shared at the retreat. Uh, I'll share those in the post later, about how we are supposed to write things. God, you know, wants us to write out things. So I'll share that later. So I do want to share, if someone has violated your trust by reading your words and sharing them, just know that that wasn't your fault. That wasn't your fault. You did what you were supposed to do. So don't let someone else's mistakes silence what God still wants to say through you, because all of us are connected to someone, and God has a message for someone, and you may be the only person to give that message to that person. Someone else might tell them the same thing, and it doesn't resonate with them, because that's not the right person to deliver that message. But when you are obedient and you do what your assignment, what God has for you to do, then that person can be free. Just like now, I when I wrote my first book, I delayed that so long, and then I finally had the courage and wrote my first book, and it kind of freed a lot of other people. You know, when they found out I wrote it and self-published, and they're like, "Wow, if you can do it, then I can do it." So just think if I hadn't have written my first book and published it and, learned all the things, invested in myself, some other people, they wouldn't think that they were able to do those things. So since I stepped out on faith, that encouraged them. So that's why I'm, started doing these lives, because I want to give others a space to just come and sit. We don't have to be here long, because I know it's Saturday. Everybody have things to do, naps, places to go, whatever. But I want to, if we really want to write and do things, we have to invest some time. Even if it's 10, 15 minutes every Saturday morning, sit down, get your notebook, your pencil, journal, whatever it is, and spend that time to write, because it's not going to write itself. So that's why, as I encourage you all to write, I'm encouraging myself, because I kind of got slacked up on writing. So I'm going to use this time for me to write as well, whatever it may be. Um, let's see where my at. Oh, and another thing I wanted to say, the enemy, he would love for you to stop writing, because your words are healing. Your words carry weight, and not just for you, but for generations to come. So if you shut your mouth and don't speak what God told you to speak or write, then you're closing the mouths of generations to come, and the enemy is happy with that. And we don't want that. We want to release people. So make sure you just do what you're supposed to do. So I keep all my journals. Another thing I had at the conference, one of the women, as I mentioned earlier, she asked me, "What do you do with all your journals?" And I told her, I said, "I keep all my journals. I'm gonna come on here one day live just to show you all the journals. I have little containers and bookshelf of journals from years ago, and sometime I might pull one off the bookshelf and read them. Just to see what was I going through in that season. Am I still learning something, still going over through something, or was I delivered from that thing?" But back to, sorry, I'm getting off track, but back to the question that the woman asked me, what do I do with my journals? I told her I keep my journals. I said, because one day my grandchildren may read them. I don't have a problem with my grandchildren reading them and to see the mistakes that I made. But what I want them to see more than the mistakes is and the pain that I went through. I want them to maybe see the wisdom that I gained. They may go through some of the same things that I went through, and they may look at it and say, "Wow, grandma went through that. I just went through that. How did she handle it?" If it's something that I wrote, because like I said, some things aren't to be shared. But the things that I did share, if it's something that resonates with something they're going through, they can see how I got through it. And what I mostly want them to see is how faithful God is, how He may have brought me through something that they're going through. But I just want them to see how God carried me through. But like I said, it doesn't always have to be about something that you went through. It can also be about things that I'm learning. They, will see the things that I learned. I keep a big, this is a journal I have that I created, and it has just different things that I'm learning. So many things. For instance, if it's something that I'm learning on YouTube, I have a space where I'm learning that, because there's so many things to write. Uh, if they can see what I'm learning in from sermons, my Bible studies. I'm doing the Bible in a year, what I'm writing. So they'll see all of that. That I didn't just write about my pain or somebody else. I wrote about what I was learning. I wrote about what God brought me through. I wrote books. I created stuff. So those are the things that that my grandkids will see, and I don't mind them. You know, they may take one of my journals and they can make a book or a devotional out of it. So everything that God gives you, is not for public consumption. So some things God may give you, he wants you to write it down, write that vision down. He doesn't want you to go on Facebook Live or text the next person and share what he gave to you. So some things are written for release, like I mentioned earlier, just to release those things out of your mind. Some things are written for remembrance. Some things we want to write down. We want to remember what the Lord has done for us, or what joy something brought us, or whatever it may be. And some things are written for obedience. But if God ever tells you to share something, then you be obedient. But if he tells you to write and keep it between you and him, that's obedience too. So you just do just that. You share what it is he wants you to share. You keep whatever it is he doesn't want you to share between the two of you. So basically, that's all I have. So I want to now take this time to go into, I want to end with a few journal prompts. So if you have your journal, your notebook, a pen, whatever it is you have to write on and write with, go ahead and get it, because I'm going to give you today. I have two journal prompts. So you can write one of them, or you can do both of them. And of course, yours may be a little lengthy of writing out. So you can always go back to this live and listen to whatever those prompts were. I might even share them down in the comment section. But the first journal prompt, first of all, I want to show you my journal. This is the journal that I'm using for the new year. Um, I'll also share the link to this journal. One of my daughters created this journal a few years ago. It's called See It, I Want It, I Buy It. It's a fashion theme journal, but of course, you can write whatever you want in it. So, this is my journal and what I will be writing in. And this is my pen that I got from one of my cousins' boutique in Missouri. Um, I don't know the link to that, but let's get started. So, the first journal prompt is Lord, what do you want me to write, not to relive, but to release? Lord, what do you want me to write, not to relive, but to release? The second journal prompt is God, what truth do you want me to remember when I forget how far you've brought me? God, what truth do you want me to remember when I forget how far you've brought me? So I hope you got those. If not, I will type them in the comment section. And if not, if you're watching this on the replay, you can pause it. Um, if you don't know what to write out for those, you can start writing. You could write a scripture to go with that. You could write one sentence. Or if you don't even have that, you could write one word. So I'm going to go ahead and write. I'm going to give you all a few couple of minutes just to kind of start on your prompt. And if you'd like to share, um, you can share. But if it's personal and private, of course, you keep that between yourself and the Lord. Okay, so briefly, I'll kind of share a little bit what I wrote with both prompts. For the first one, Lord, what do you want me to write? Not to relive, but to release. I have. You want me to write what no longer serves my growth, the pain I survived, the fear I outgrew, and burdens I was never meant to carry. I release what shaped me but will not define me. And for the second one, God, what truth do you want me to remember when I forget how far you've brought me? I have you remind me that I am not who I was. I am healed, strengthened, and still become proof that your hand has been guiding me every step of the way. So that is what I briefly got, just a couple of sentences out of each one. So thank you for joining me for these 19-20 minutes on this Saturday afternoon. I hope you all go out and have a productive and blessed and safe Saturday afternoon. Bye for now. See you next Saturday, Lord willing.